Gary, cold open question of the week.
Yes.
Have you ever used Viagra?
I have not.
No.
No.
Neither.
Never had to use it.
Neither have I.
Yet. So
lots of commercials for it, though.
Oh, nonstop commercials. That's all they're ever like. That's all I see anymore.
Do you know anyone who has used it?
I have no. Not to my recollection.
I don't either. There's one guy I know who talked about it, but I think he was joking. Maybe he wasn't.
No, I've never heard. Nope.
On this edition of the Brian Lemon Show, we'll discuss back to school shopping, Gary's first week of school, the spirit of Halloween, COVID-19, Isaac Newton, your podcast diet, quitting your job, and lots of other things.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't think we ever got to that breakdown there before.
I don't think so either.
That's a good spot to end there.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I like it a lot.
So, Gary, I sent you this afternoon a long list of topics to discuss. Some of them we won't get to just because we don't have enough time, and both you and I are battling some intestinal issues, maybe.
Yes. A little bit.
So we may even have to take a break here. But, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How was the first week of school / work?
So first, oh my goodness, I can't with her.
Gary, just so you're aware, I'm drinking Members Mark purified water.
Yummy. I'm still drinking my Big Storm vodka sodas. So first week, interesting. I mean, we've doubled student size, so our classes. Some of the classes are a lot larger than there was last year. So I'm trying to learn these names, but still got those couple kids that just don't know how to be quiet in class.
Troublemakers.
Don't want to just sit there and learn. They want to just have their own little conversations. So, but 5 days in, I'm already looking forward to May. So,
does teaching give you a better appreciation for your own teachers and how they put up with you?
You know what? When I think back, because even when I talk to the other teachers, and I'll be saying I don't remember kids like this when I went to school. I mean, you had those couple that were the ones that thought they were, they thought they were funny and they'll make joke or whatever, try to disrupt class a little bit, but not the way these kids are. They are bad. I'm sorry. So far, out of our middle school, our 6th grade class, so far, knock on wood, they've been fantastic. I mean, it's all newer kids except for one girl. So, I mean, they've been great. And then my Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do high school. So I do the 9th grade algebra 1. And so far, first group is pretty good. Second group is a little iffy, but I could still work with them. But yeah, my Mondays and Wednesdays are my nightmare days. I was like, oh, that's all my middle school. But
yeah, I teach 6th grade CCD. So again, it's for like an hour and 15 minutes on Sunday. It's not a big, it's not all day like you're doing, and it's not, algebra or anything. But I think after 6th grade, kids become nasty. Like there's still, there's a little bit of innocence left.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost like I know we don't have a 4th and 5th grade teacher yet. So I'm literally almost debating on me, like, you know what, maybe I'll just do that and teach them all subjects and just get out of middle school and high school altogether, because these kids are just, oh man. They make like I like already it was like the first day back last Wednesday. I was already yelling. I was like, seriously? I'm like, I just got here and I'm already having to yell at you guys. It's crazy.
Now, I remember when I was studying teaching at East Stroudsburg, one of the classes was talking about, being a first year teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically the hardest year, especially when you are like a younger teacher, first out of college. Because,
yes.
And especially if you're teaching high school age kids. And I always think back to Miss Parola.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in that class with us?
I don't know. I can't remember
was
what she
like,
even taught.
It was stats and trig or something.
No, you know what? I didn't. I think I was starting that class, and then I left it and went to Miss McGee's class, which was the other math class she was teaching. So, yeah, I ended up going into hers because I don't think I ever I don't think I ever had Miss Parola.
But we did. Basically, it was like a textbook lesson in what kids will do to a first year teacher.
Mm-hmm.
We would just all in unison stare up at the ceiling tiles till she would ask us what we're looking at.
I do that now when they don't stop talking and I'm up there teaching and they're just still talking. I just completely stop and I just stare up at the ceiling and I just wait till someone was like, "Hey, quiet." And then then I'll find like, all right, we're done. And then they get maybe 10 words out and then so I'm like, oh my God, seriously. I'm like, guys, I can't. I wrote up more kids Monday than I did all year last year. I had referral sheets written up, so many of them. One kid he just disappears. He just gets up and goes, walks out of class. He's an 8th grader. So
you're becoming the disciplinarian now.
I try. They don't listen to. I mean, it doesn't matter what I say. They don't. But then a principal, Mr. Uda, walks in and all of a sudden, quiet. Him and a parent walked in the other day. I think it was Monday. They walked in and they all shut up. The mother went down, sat right behind her son. And all of a sudden I'm looking at them all. I'm like, seriously, guys? I go, it takes a parent and Mr. Uda to walk in here and now you all act like angels, where before this you guys were like crazy and you wouldn't listen to me, you wouldn't do anything, and they just shut up. They were just sitting there. The mother was just looking at her son and he was like looking at her, and then he turned around, he wouldn't even look at her anymore, because I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's what.
Was she there for a particular reason?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she just stopped in for some, or maybe there was some paperwork, something she had to sign, whatever, but yeah, she just came in. I mean, I didn't even get to talk to her. She just walked. She was with the principal, and then she comes walking in, and then they just kind of. I said, I'm like, I'm gonna have to start doing that now. I'm just calling like random parents and say, hey, I need you to just walk in, come into this class for like 10, 15 minutes. Just walk in one day, just see what they're like. Because a lot of these parents, I don't think, believe when like I email them and stuff like that. Some of them do, because they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll take care of this, but then nothing ever happens. The kid does the same thing the next day. So.
Well,
good times.
It sounds like good times. So back to school shopping has started up here in Pennsylvania, at least.
Okay. Yeah.
So it turned into Jill took Ruby for a haircut and pants last night, and it ended up in tears.
Oh, jeez. Because she didn't want to go back to school, or she didn't want to wear the clothes that you had to purchase.
Well, it started, I guess, with the haircut. So Ruby was making faces when she gets her haircut, and Jill was apparently like laughing or smiling at her.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Then the hairdresser must have said something to Ruby. Oh, your mom's laughing at you.
Oh,
So she thought she was like laughing at Ruby, but she was laughing at Ruby's faces that she was making. So that got Ruby upset. And then Ruby doesn't like to shop for shoes or clothes.
Okay.
So it just turned into a bad scene. So I think I'm going to be end up taking Ruby for her sneakers sometime this week or over the weekend.
When do they start?
It's a great question, Gary. Might be September 1st.
Okay.
If that's like the Wednesday before Labor Day.
31st then.
Maybe it's the 31st.
Yeah, I think that's what Jay said, that his daughter was going back was on the 31st. That's the last Wednesday of August, so
yeah. So it might be the 31st then.
Okay.
So how does back to school shopping now? I know Colin didn't get a haircut because you're doing the no cut 22.
That's right.
But how does back to school shopping go? Now he wears a uniform, correct?
Yes, this year they decided to go back to the whole uniform thing. So basically, they were supposed to do uniforms last year, but then it became a big ordeal. So then they were just like, you know what, we'll just let them wear whatever they want. But I had already purchased him a bunch of like pre-made shirts for the school, like the polos, and then I made a couple t-shirts with our cricket. So this year we didn't go get him anything else. We had a couple pairs of shorts that he could still fit into, so he has that. But we do have to go get him a couple more polos. But yeah, navy blue, white, black, powder blue, gray, any type of polo like that, and then any type of like khaki, navy, black, gray shorts, or they decided to let them wear like gym shorts too, but in those colors, but they can't have anything on them.
Now, does your school have school colors?
We do. We are white, navy, and powder blue.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so far most of the kids have been following the rules. It seems like some of the 12th graders and the football players seem to not be getting it, I guess, but of course they're not getting in trouble because they're football players, so they could do whatever they want. But yeah. No, it's But and then they were supposed to have all clear backpacks. A good majority of them do. A bunch don't. So
how about in Scranton this week? They're going to be putting 20 armored guards in the schools for this upcoming year.
Damn.
That's in addition to like the community resource officers
from
the police department, who I believe they all carry as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were supposed to have someone, but I don't know. I guess we have a couple teachers that have their carry permit, and they have something where they can become like a resource officer. They have like the credentials or something like that. So I just don't know which ones they are.
How would you feel about having armed guards who are not necessarily police officers in your schools of your children, or as a teacher in the workplace?
Well, I mean, it depends on, if they're just some like random security guys that they get that just, I don't know about that. I like someone that's a little bit more trained. I wouldn't mind it in this school. I think some of these kids would be so scared peepless that they would actually be quiet and listen in class.
Yeah, I think there's part of me that's a little hesitant to have armed guards in the schools. And again, I've worked in retail where we have, pickups, from a Brinks truck or a guard, and those guys carry. Mm-hmm. I don't know what type of background check they go through. Um, I think someone who's maybe carrying an armed weapon in a school building would need to be trained as far as like de-escalation,
Yes.
Dealing with people,
Mm-hmm.
should have some sort of criminal justice or, criminal justice background, I guess.
Yeah, something.
So
Military or whatever. I mean, right now, well, that's the other thing too. We were just talking about this because we're still missing some teachers. And I said that our lovely governor down here just made it where veterans could become teachers. They'll give them certificates to teach, even if they've never done it before. And just
that's wonderful to put.
But I actually
the men and women who have served our country into the workforce.
Yeah, and shove them with these kids. Yeah, that'll be great for their PS or PSD. What is it? Oh my god! I can't.
It's PTSD. Is that
PTSD? That's what I'm trying. Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to
get
at.
You better mind your P's and Q's if you maybe.
But I think so. I mean, some of them might actually be good because they might.
Well, I think in your school, it seems like someone with a military background would be an effective manager of the classroom.
Yep, that's what I think too. Because I mean, and I think these kids would.
So maybe your governor is onto something. Especially, it seems like you have a lot of charter schools in Florida. They seem to be populating.
Oh yeah, they're popping up everywhere. It's like a new school coming up every other day, like gas stations and car washes. That's how they build down here. So craziness.
So we'll keep an eye on that. That might be obviously something to look into and monitor.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up something else, Gary. I don't think this was on. I don't think it was on the notes that I sent you, but I kind of want to track this throughout the course of the year.
Okay.
I saw an article on ABC News the other day. Actually involves there was a shooting, I guess, over the weekend near Dallas at a youth football game.
Oh, jeez.
And I guess police had identified Yaqub Salik Talib, who's the brother of former NFL cornerback Aqib Talib, who played for the Patriots, as a suspect in the fatal shooting, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. I do believe he turned himself in.
He did. I seen that. I didn't know it was I didn't know it was that. I seen that he was that on my sports news app that I look at it that they said that his brother had turned himself in.
Yeah, so I guess Saturday night at a football game, an argument escalated into a shooting. So this has kind of been a troubling trend. And as someone who, for years I coached youth sports. I also officiated youth sports and high school sports. One of the reasons I got out of it was just the absurdness of the behavior of the coaches and parents.
Yes. Yep.
And so I know you coach and you're, obviously involved with the high school with, sports programs as well. And Florida is a big time, sports state.
Yep.
What's the, do you have similar incidents down there?
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's been, but I mean, like, just what I've been to, I mean, our youth baseball is usually pretty good, but yes, you do it. It seems more the parents get crazy, and they're the ones constantly on, especially like with our team, it's a couple parents we have. They'll get like the one guy we basically was getting thrown out of the game the one day because he just couldn't stop yapping at the umpire, and it's like, but I mean, I've been to some of our high school and our middle school football games, and like you see these parents, and well, of course, they all think their kids are the greatest athletes in the world, and this and that. And they feel that they should be doing more, and this, and they should be playing, and and then they start, and then like it's just then there's fights, and it's like I'm seriously, people just, but it's all stems from the parents. Parents are the ones that are the crazy ones. Kids are just like, I just want to play, and then the parents are all up in arms about stuff, and it's ridiculous.
There may sound like there's a fight going on in the background where I'm located. That's just a 7-year-old that refuses to go to bed.
Oh,
So
sounds about right.
It's probably only going to be on Tuesday nights, and I always said, put the kids in the gym, lock the doors, and don't let the parents in.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have a better game, better basketball game, better baseball game.
It's just our middle school basketball this past year. One parent's just sitting right there, and she's yelling to her son, "Just take it to the hoop. Don't be. You don't have to worry about Pat. Just shoot the ball. Shoot the ball." And she's just yelling, and so I'm like, there's 4 other kids on this team, right? He's not the only one. I'm like, and then the kids try to do all that stuff, and I'm like, no, you guys. I'm like, that's all they were trying to do, just shoot from the 3-point line. It's like, take the ball to the hoop, score the points. Don't worry about 3 points. Don't worry about, just make the basket. That's all they want to do. And it was just like nobody would pass. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember too, coaching, and you have the parent, and I've observed it too as a parent of another parent on the team, like, he's in center field behind his son who's playing center field, or he's along the fence at third base.
It's all I lost you again. It's all that baloney. No one wants to, but then you get the kids that it's like they're not all that great, but their father's the coach, so they're the ones playing shortstop, and they're
that's always been a thing.
That's never going to end. That's always going to be the same thing.
But that was frustrating too as a coach. Like, let me coach your son, or you come out and coach.
That's what our coach did the one day, because the father was over on the other side of the fence talking to the kids, and coach was like, "Hey," he goes, your coaches aren't out there. Your coaches are in here. Don't be listening to anybody out there." And the guy's like, "Oh, I played I played professional ball, and I know." And Cliff's like, "All right, well then, if you want to come help me
out, coach,
I don't have time for that." He's like, "Well then, just sit down and be quiet."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, it was always frustrating. All right. Let me see here.
Sleepy time.
All right. So I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience again today.
Okay.
Because they had a Chris Best on.
Okay.
And Chris Best is one of the founders of Substack, which of course our podcast is on that platform, as well as my blog, I guess. So it was interesting to hear him talk about just kind of the state of journalism, the state of expression, written and verbal, and communication, and how that goes. How do you get your news, or like, do you subscribe to a newspaper anymore?
No, I don't even watch the news. The only time I learned that is if I'm scrolling through Facebook and Twitter. That's it. And then if I see something on there, then I'll be like, "Oh, all right, so like sports related. If I see something on there, I'll be like, "Oh, is this true?" I'll go to my sports app that I have on my phone, and I'll look the news up in there, because usually if they if they have it, then it's true. But I don't. Yeah.
What
Other than
sport
that,
app is that?
It's called The Score. So it's just
So you don't check like ESPN.com,
No,
ABC News,
I usually just
Fox News.
Nope. I don't watch any news channels. I don't watch. The only time I watch ESPN is when like football season starts, and then I'll turn that on, or NFL Network. Other than that, no. I go off my sports mobile. I look.
Do you watch any TV in the morning? Like, do you watch Good Morning America, the Today Show?
No, I'm getting up. I'm showering, getting dressed, and running out the door. I don't get up for anything like that. I don't even make coffee in the morning. I stop for coffee now. So
Dunkin' or Starbucks?
Oh, Dunkin' all the way. Can't stand Starbucks.
For hot coffee?
Yeah. Starbucks to me, the coffee always tastes burnt. It's got that weird burnt flavor to it. The only Starbucks
hot coffee has to be from Starbucks. Iced coffee from Dunkin'.
No, like my son and his friend, they'll get the iced coffee or the frozen coffee. No, I get my hot coffee all the time. That's all we drink here too. Even when we make coffee, we buy the Dunkin' and we make it in our coffee pot.
All right.
Only coffee I drink.
So Gary, I'm interested on how you're consuming news and media, and now what do you listen? Do you have like a certain number of podcasts that you listen to? I know you're on 2 podcasts, but that's pretty much other podcasts.
It's pretty much all I've been listening to, and when I have a chance to listen to, I always re-listen to ours, and then every once in a while, there's the guys from Always Sunny. I can't remember what theirs is, but I'll turn on an episode or 2 of theirs, and then Bert Kreischer has one with another comedian, Tom Segura, 2 Bears. Well, I think it's 2 Bears, 1 Cave or whatever. I'll throw that on every once in a while and listen to them. But other than that, I don't really listen to anything else.
So it's basically comedian with
ones,
podcasts.
Basically, yeah. Shannon listens. Well, she's the one who listens to all the murder podcasts, things like that. I don't. But yeah, no. My news consumption is Facebook and Twitter, and then if I see something on there, then I'll go and I'll Google it and see if it's true or not, because not everything on those medias are true. So, but because the other day, who's it? Sean Payton was dead. So that was the one thing that
the former Saints coach. Oh, I didn't know he died.
Yeah, I was scrolling through. He was dead. Also, Colin
Kaepernick. Was he driving with Ann H?
He might have been, but that Colin Kaepernick was signed by the Browns. That was another one I seen. So then of course
that sounds like a Brown signing.
See, now that I actually I thought was true, but I jumped right onto my sports app. I'm looking. I'm like, well, nothing here. I'm like, all right.
Now, Gary, are you following like the Onion on Twitter? And that's the Onion is a fake news website.
Yeah, no, I don't follow them. No, okay. I don't know what it was from. Well, it's probably a fake NFL site because how many of those are on there. But yeah, if someone else reposted it and it just popped up, and I was like, oh no, I'm like, well, the Peyton thing I seen, that was the second time I've seen that one. So I was like, all right, yeah, I know that one's fake. But the Kaepernick one, I was like, ooh, that could be true. So I was like going into my other apps and looking, I was like, okay, no, it wasn't true. So
all right, Gary, I have something exciting to tell you.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
So Sunday night, me and the missus went to see Dirty Dancing, which was re-released for the 35th anniversary.
Okay.
In theaters. So it was weird because they didn't really play like any coming attractions. But this Fathom Events, who is the one doing this event, it says, it's like this big thing, like coming to theaters. And it says like September 2nd, 4th, and 5th. And on the screen comes up Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
No.
And I'm
seriously?
like, get the hell out of here.
Ah!
I like look over at Jill, like, you're not going to believe this.
Oh my God. That's fantastic.
So I was explaining to her, like, we were talking about like what movies you would want to see re-released in theaters. And Gary mentions Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So I guess it's the 40th anniversary
Okay.
of The Wrath of Khan.
Sounds about right.
So that will be in theaters, around Memorial Day. So
I have to check that out now. See if they have it down here.
so you speak it, and it comes into
fantastic. Yeah.
reality here.
Yeah,
So
like when you talk about stuff and all of a sudden on Amazon it keeps popping, or on your Facebook, it just keeps popping up. See?
yeah, so I couldn't wait to tell you that surprise announcement.
That is fantastic. I am so excited.
I also wanted to log a complaint
Okay.
against your other podcast.
Okay.
So I was listening to it because I want to be a supportive listener.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to it. Must have been a Friday morning on my way to work. Or did it come out on?
So we did it live Thursday, so it would have been
Friday.
It would have been there
Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening. I'm driving to work. I'm on the highway, and I'm like, what the hell is that squeaking sound in my car? Sounds like there's something like loose squeaking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm like, and I can hear it. It's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
Just kind of a steady little tweeting, creaking.
Uh-huh.
I realized, Gary, because you were recording live at Soggy Bottom.
We were outside.
That there were crickets.
There was.
In the background.
And what's funny is
it took me about 10, 15 minutes to recognize that it wasn't my car. It was the crickets.
I haven't listened to that episode yet, but see, the last time we were there, we were out front. There were still crickets, and I was worried about that. But then I was like, okay. When I was listening to it, I didn't really hear anything because we were listening back. But this last time we were out back, and it just seemed like there was a lot more there besides the rats that kept running around. So I was wondering if they were getting picked up. Because there was that one where that, I don't know if it was a Lamborghini or something, went barreling down the road.
I heard the car or motorcycle go by.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what we said. I'm like, well, I guess that's what's gonna happen when we do stuff outside. But yeah,
I think your allergies were bothering you as well because there was a significant amount of sniffling.
Oh, it was killing me. Yeah, I was in rough shape that night, and I was like, I didn't even want to go out at first because I was like, it was second day back from school. I was like, so tired, and then I was texting them. I'm like, are we gonna do a live show tonight? And they're like, planning on it. I was like, crap. I'm like, all right, I'll come out. And then we ended up doing it late anyway. We did it. It was short. It wasn't a normal, like we only did like a half hour or something like that because we started late, and then we were just like, we were all kind of getting tired too. And so we did a quick one, but it was, yeah. But yeah, I'll have to listen to it and hear and listen to it now because they were louder than usual out back there, and I was like, oh, man, this. And I'm like, if we picked up the car driving all the way down we were a little ways from the road, but if we picked up that, then I'm sure.
Yeah, you definitely hear crickets.
Did you hear the people?
I heard. Looks like someone came over and was talking to you, and like
there was an entire group of people that decided to come out back and sit on the back patio while we were sitting back there, and they were just having a good old time conversation. And I was like, I'm like, seriously? I'm like, no one's been out here. Very rarely does anyone even come out back this way. And then all of a sudden tonight, people had to come out, and so we weren't sure if picked up a lot of that or not. So, but
now, Gary, last week you mentioned you may have some merchandise for us.
Yeah. So, okay. The image you sent, she had a hard time with because it wasn't in like a JPEG file, so she couldn't get it quite the way I wanted it.
Okay.
but I still think they turned out.
Oh, you actually have the shirt on.
I do, and then
Look at you.
So there it is. Can we see it?
Very nice.
Yeah, I wanted to get the box around there, and then she couldn't get it to work, and so then I was trying to cut it, but like with the razor, but the problem was my hands aren't too steady. So like when I looked at it, like it kind of went like one went like this, and then the other side was over this way a little bit. So I was like, that's gonna look stupid. So I was like, you know what? Let me just do it this way. Test run. We'll put it together like this, and then I'll see what we can do later on.
Now, have you worn the shirt out in public, or you're just wearing it on your back porch?
I literally just did it this afternoon.
Okay.
I just ironed them on. She printed them all out last night, and then we ironed them on today. I said I kind of wish it was a little bit bigger, but then when she was looking at it, she goes, no, I kind of like it just like that. It's not like
subtle,
humongous, but it's just like it's enough where someone's gonna be like, what's on your shirt? And then they're gonna come on and be like, oh, okay. I'm like, all right, I get that. So, but yeah, so test run. So we have the first batch. Well, 2 of them, but whatever. But, the first, so anyone who wants one, you could message me on Facebook, or you could send something to the Brian Lennon Show on Facebook, and
yeah, that's a good segue to remind people to subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Brian Lennon Show. Gary, guess how many subscribers we have?
How many?
Take a guess.
On the YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be hopeful and go with 8.
4.
4. Okay. Well,
so we need people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come on, people. And I think it's me, you, Shannon, and someone else. Might be the good doctor, Greg Novak.
Okay.
But I think we're going to have on the show at some point probably within the next month.
Exactly. Yeah. Gotta get them on.
All right. What else was I? Oh, yeah. So YouTube, thebrianlennonshow.substack.com, where you can also listen to the podcast, see the things I'm writing. I haven't written that much this month, but I have 3 or 4 pieces I'm working on, but hopefully we'll get there. Actually, I'm writing something about the next thing I'm going to talk about, Gary. So after the fishing derby this past weekend,
that go good?
Went very well. We had 89 kids. So
wow.
I think we had like 64, 65 last year. So, the numbers are up. Yeah. It was a beautiful day. It was like the perfect day. It was like 80 degrees.
Oh, hold on. You blinked out a little bit. You're frozen. You're frozen.
Now you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. So anyway, we come back to the house. My sister-in-law Laura and we run to get some beer. So we got some Land Shark. And it seems like every time I buy beer, I buy way too much beer. So we just bought like a case of beer. Come back. There's maybe 7 or 8 adults. Everyone like polishes off the first one real quick. A second one. Then there's people having a third one. So there's like 2 or 3 beers left.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move into, a vodka cranberry.
Okay.
So I offered my brother-in-law a vodka cranberry. And I don't think I've ever made him a vodka cranberry before. I may have made him like a Brandy Alexander in the winter at some point.
Okay.
So I make him one. And then by the time I'm done with mine, he's done with his already. So I'm like, you want another one? He's like, yeah. So I make him another one. And then he's like, these are so good. So, and he finished that one, pretty quickly too.
Mhm.
I was like, "You want another one?" Because his wife was going to be driving home.
Yeah.
And he was like, he wanted one,
Yeah.
but he didn't go for it. But I took that kind of as a compliment.
Mhm.
As far as like when you make a cocktail, I think a cocktail should be kind of subtle. Like you shouldn't feel like you're drinking an alcoholic drink.
Mhm.
And it should be like smooth and going down easy. And you realize, that tasted really good. I want to have another one and another one. And then you realize, ooh,
Yep.
kind of sneaks up on you.
Mm-hmm.
So is that your theory on the art of the cocktail?
Yeah, I mean, I always said the simpler the cocktail, the better it was. I mean, when you start having to mix 4 or 5 different alcohols and all these other different like sodas and or juices to stuff, it just becomes way too complicated. And it's just like, I mean, I love a good mojito, but sometimes it's just it's just a pain, having to put all
They
the
are a lot of work.
and do all that. I'm like, I so like, I mean, like around Christmas time, I make a simple drink and it's basically a vodka cran, but it's got ginger beer in it. So I mean, that's all you're adding to it, a little bit. So it's basically it's a Christmas mule, I guess is what it was called when I looked it up. But I mean, it's your vodka, it's cranberry, splash of ginger beer, and a squeeze of lime, and then I usually buy like the whole cranberries. I like to throw them in there too. That's it, simple, and you just keep going, and like you said, they just go down, and like a little while later, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be trouble later.
Some people think it's like cool to make like a strong drink, but it's like sometimes they just taste awful.
Yeah, there's no the flavor is bad, and
you don't want to drink it.
No,
and that's why, because I make the vodka. That's my drink. I've been making that for 20 plus years, and so I think I'm good at mixing it. So when I do make it for people, they usually always want another one.
Yeah, you're putting the right amounts of each flavoring in there. So yeah,
right, and then it kind of like sneaks up on them.
Mm-hmm.
I always take that as kind of like a compliment, like, I gotcha.
Yeah, that's what this. A lot of people think, yeah, I need to go to like a dive bar because I want a Jack and Coke, but it's really Jack with just a splash of Coke. But I'm like, then just drink Jack. What's the sense of even putting that splash of Coke in for? If you want to get hammered, then just drink it straight. But yeah, if you want, I mean, if you're going to be out drinking cocktails, you want something that's flavorful and not something that like as soon as you take it, it's like you're just drinking rubbing alcohol. I'm like, then that's just not, you're going to have one and be done. That's it. You're not going to want anything else. So yeah, that was always my thing. You don't have to over pour, you just put enough in and you just have a few, you don't need one and be done.
I still remember it's probably about 5 years ago, maybe even a little over 5 years ago. We stayed the night at the Radisson in Scranton.
Okay.
We went to Tracks, the bar there.
I don't know if I've ever.
The bar inside the Radisson.
In the Radisson?
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
It's called Tracks.
Was it? Oh, I don't. Do you know how many bars I've gone to when I was up there? I don't remember half of them. And now the ones that I know are gone. So now, unless Trax has been there for a while, I was it there? Wait, the Radisson was that?
I couldn't hear you.
You couldn't hear me?
No.
Oh, well, yeah, you were frozen too. I just keep talking because
That's what you have to do because you get picked up and then.
Yeah. So I don't know what. No, I was saying I'm like all the bars that I remember are pretty much gone. That's up there. But was Radisson? Was that the one where you stayed after your wedding?
Yes.
So was Trax there then?
Yes.
Okay, then I probably was in Trax.
Okay.
Point in my life.
But anyway, we went there and I went down to the bar. We had a few drinks before retiring to our room. And I actually asked for a double vodka cran.
Oh, we're getting fancy.
and the lady made it. It was like the best tasting vodka cranberry I've had, other than one I've made.
Yeah.
So I had 2 of them, so 2 double vodka cranberries.
Now, did she put it in a big glass or a small glass?
It was a bigger glass.
Okay.
But it was like just the right amounts so that it didn't taste like vodka.
Okay.
It just tasted like a vodka cranberry.
Yeah, because sometimes when you go to those places and you ask for like a double, they put it in the exact same glass a single was in, and they just add a whole bunch of alcohol, and then and it's like that little light pink color, and it's like then you drink and you're like, oh, I can't drink this. This is disgusting. Like I want a double. I just want you in a bigger glass and just add a little bit more and put the same amount of cranberry juices you would do for 2, not just 1. So
before we get to your segment, Gary.
Yes.
Last night I called my first bingo games.
Oh yeah.
At the bingo hall.
And how was that?
It went well. I only called 2 games. No incidents. They didn't skin me alive or anything.
That's good.
So they actually wanted me to keep calling. So I took that as a compliment. So I told them I was just getting my feet wet though. So I'll probably call more this week coming up. And then the following week, we have like 2 of the guys who are typically the ones who call are out. So I'll kind of need to call more games that week. So
okay. That's interesting. Good.
But yeah.
That's good.
So, all right. Bingo.
Bingo. Bingo bango. Boingo boingo. I hit the wrong.
What
is happening?
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, we get those peepers.
And now, Gary's News of the Weird. And here's your host, Gary McDaniel.
Yeah. All right. So, to go off of what we started the whole show with, this mom's hilarious back to school shopping rant is making teachers cheer. All right. So it's the time of year when parents can be found wandering the aisles of big box stores with long lists of school supplies in hand, loading carts with pre-sharpened number 2 pencils, expo markers, boxes of tissues, and 8 bazillion glue sticks. It all adds up pretty quickly. But a mega viral Facebook video comedian and mom of 3, Dina Blizzard, probably Blizzard, but Blizzard, I like Blizzard. Sounds better. Made in 2017 is again reminding parents why they shouldn't complain about the price of school supplies. In the video, Blizzard took her audience with her on a back-to-school shopping trip to Target, declaring she would buy teachers anything they want because they had the daunting task of teaching her children for 9 months each year. And that meant she didn't have to do it herself. So let's see if I can pull this up.
And this is pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
If it's 2017.
Yep. So this is, I guess, this video, and then I guess it just resurfaced again. So let's see. Okay, here we go. Come on.
The public cloud wasn't built to handle everything, but that's okay. Because now you can bring a new kind of cloud experience to all your apps and data. No matter
you can mute that ad, though, right?
Meet HPE GreenLake.
I can't.
There you go. All right, so we'll mute that.
Open and secure edge to cloud
platform. I paused it.
Select the cloud services you want, choose where to deploy.
No
but you can mute it, right?
Join 1,000 top enterprises on the open edge
platform. I can mute myself
and modernize your IT experiences and business.
All right, here we go. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Listen, it is the end of August. I will give you anything to take my kids. I'll get you a yellow binder. I'll get you a red binder. I will tie-dye some. You take these kids out of my house, I'll get you whatever you want. I'm telling you right now. If there was a teacher said, you know what, I need some Tide, I'm gonna get you some Tide. You can put whatever you want on that list. It's back to school time, and I'm about to go pick up all the stuff for my kids. But here's the thing. I've been noticing lately, when people are doing their back to school shopping, everybody's complaining. All you people saying, I'm not gonna pick up any Kleenex for the class. Oh, are you kidding me? Do you know how much I would pay them just to get my kids out of my face? You want some super glue? I'll get you some super glue. I'll get you as much super glue as you want, because you're gonna teach my kids. And guess what that means? I don't have to teach my kids. All you parents going on the...
So she went on her whole little rant about basically, I will buy you whatever you want as long as.
And that's pre-pandemic. It probably was even.
Oh, she probably lost her mind when she was stuck with the.
She was probably buying them jewelry and stuff after the pandemic.
You need a car?
You want a tennis bracelet?
Yeah. I'll get you whatever you want. Oh my God. And then the last story I have, which I was kind of gagging at, but whatever.
Okay.
Ketchup ice pops are now a thing.
Ugh.
Thanks to French's. Every now and again, a beloved food company tests the limits of what constitutes a delicious summer treat. French's has been offering a litany of flavorful concoctions for your burgers and hot dogs for over a century, including mustard, seasoning mixes, and ketchup. On June 20th, the condiment company announced a limited edition treat to celebrate beach season and used its ketchup to adorn another seasonal staple, the ice pop. French's Ketchup will debut the Frenchsicle, its new limited edition ketchup flavored popsicle to celebrate the first week of summer, French's said in a press release. And I will pop up a little screenshot so we can. There they
of the popsicle.
They look yummy, don't they? So the frozen tomato-based treats are only available at pop-up locations in Canada until June 24th. But if you're aching for a taste, do not fret. French's provides a simple recipe for Frenchicles on its website. Oh, look at those.
Now, I know people who will put ketchup on anything.
Oh, yeah.
And everything.
Mm-hmm.
Ketchup by itself, though, I don't know.
I do it on burgers. Well, meatloaf, which is what I had tonight, and French fries. But other than that, I'm like, I won't. Hot dog is against all my. I will not put ketchup on.
It's got to be mustard.
Mustard only.
Mustard on a hot dog.
That's it. Yep. I can't.
Now, you put ketchup on your meatloaf, like to eat it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the way she cooks it too is she'll put the ketchup on the top, then we slice it up, and then I put it on my plate and I'll add more ketchup to it. Yeah, I'm basically just putting ketchup on a hamburger.
See, I put ketchup in the meatloaf.
I don't know if she does that.
I put ketchup and mustard in the meatloaf.
Oh, interesting. That sounds pretty good.
That's how my mother made it.
I'll have to let her know about that. And
I like a tomato sauce on a meatloaf.
See, now I was always my mother with gravy. We always put gravy.
Well, we usually make gravy, but if you remember Boston Market, they always had the tomato. I think you could get either tomato sauce or gravy on your meatloaf, and I would always go for the tomato sauce.
I don't know if I've ever had meatloaf at Boston Market.
There's none around here anymore, but that's the place to go.
We have a couple. So, but that was news of the weird. Or weird news, whatever you want to call it.
Well, putting ketchup in a icicle is weird.
Tell me about it. Disgusting. Not a fan.
Yeah, I don't think No. Gary, I heard today that Isaac Newton may have died a virgin.
Interesting.
And he was maybe very uncomfortable with people touching him. So he may have been on the spectrum.
So, how do people find this stuff out? I mean,
Well, there's records of. I mean, he invented calculus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. There's all that stuff, but I mean, that specific that he never. How do they know that he never slept with anyone?
Well, we don't know, but there's rumors. TMZ is reporting.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Sir Isaac Newton may have avoided a brush with anyone.
Because that's big news today.
In 2022? That's right.
Half these kids probably don't even know who Isaac Newton was. So.
But they were talking about him. It was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast because in addition to like inventing calculus, was it calculus or trigonometry that he invented? I think it was calculus. You can look that up while I'm talking.
Yes, go ahead.
He also had other ideas that were a little more far-flung and would have been considered a heretic or heretical.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of putting him in the modern context as if maybe we had only looked at what Sir Isaac Newton said as far as it related to, say, the church or something, he may have gotten canceled, and we miss out on calculus and everything that calculus has brought us.
That's what he did, calculus.
And then so they were kind of talking about like why it's important that maybe the media isn't censored or Twitter is not censored.
Okay.
Because even though people may have far-flung ideas, not all of their ideas are bad.
Yes.
And so we need to kind of measure and balance one with the other.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you look back to anything, like all the stuff we've had prior to now becoming so watered down, where, I mean, half these people would have been probably thrown out and whatever, and we'd never have anything. Like, I mean, think of some of the shows that we've had in the past, All in the Family.
You watch some of those older shows it's amazing because they wouldn't get past anyone today.
Oh, the Jeffersons, All in the Family, any of those shows,
all of those from the 70s.
None of them would be they would never be able to do any of that stuff today the way they did. Honeymooners. No, I mean, he was gonna hit his wife every time, send that woman to the moon. So I mean,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then that could be the reason why they keep just redoing. They just can't come up with any new ideas, so they just keep redoing movies that are easier for people to handle, I guess. So
yeah,
I don't know. Whatever. That's crazy.
All right. Our buddy Jay got COVID again.
Yeah. He called me the other day. He's like, "Hey, do you have time to take a call?" I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Good thing you didn't come over." He goes, "We ended up getting COVID." I was like, "Ugh." I was like, "That sucks." So I just found a couple other people from around our school just got it too now. So I was like, "Oh, great." But yeah, that's
he's had it twice now.
Yeah, that's what he said. Mm-hmm. He said this time wasn't as bad. He said he had a little fever, and that was about it. But he said like he wasn't really tired like he was the first time and all that. But so yeah, that just sucks though. So, and it was like, it might have been towards the end of the trip down here, I think, is when I think he said that it was kind of it was when Lila was starting to feel sick. And then he said when he got home, he said he tested negative, and then like a day or two later, he went and did it again. And he tested positive. So
yeah, he said the woke mouse gave it to him.
mm-hmm.
So best wishes to our friend Jay.
Yes.
Any word from our friend Lisa Red? Is she?
Yeah, she texted right before the show started saying she was still stuck at work.
Oh,
so me and Jay had talked about it. We had we said the other when I talked to him the other day, I said she said she's supposed to be on, but I'm guarantee she'll have some other excuse not get on this time. And there it was. Yeah,
I know she's been busy at work, but
as soon as it started, I heard my phone going off. I looked down, I see Lisa. I'm like, oh, let's see what it is today. Oh, stuck at work. Oh well.
Ann H died, Gary, this past week.
Yeah, I seen that too.
Any thoughts about Ann H?
So I'm like, I knew the name, and I'm trying to picture it. I couldn't picture her for the longest time. I'm like, okay. And then finally it was one of the shows I was listening to. They mentioned one of the movies she was in. I was like, oh, okay, now I know who it was. And then I seen pictures of her on thing, but yeah, I guess she was always battling some stuff in the past.
She battled some demons, yeah. She wasn't really famous other than the fact that she dated Ellen DeGeneres back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, the only movie I could think of her in was the one. I think wasn't she? She was in a movie with Harrison Ford, and that was the only one. And I couldn't even think of what the name of the movie was. I think they I think they were stranded somewhere. Their plane crashed. I forget what it was called.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you a movie she was in.
But I think that was the only one I kind of remembered her in. So,
well, rest in peace to Ann H.
Yes.
And then just a few other things here. I sent you the rules for the Gauntlet League.
Yes, I haven't looked at them yet. I will read those probably tomorrow.
All right, we'll have to get together at some point to discuss who we're going to invite into our Gauntlet League, because there's only 6 openings. So if you want to be in the league and you're listening to the show and you're a subscriber, maybe we'll invite you.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds good.
And yeah, that's about it. Anything else on your end?
I did over the weekend. I did a brew bus.
Yes. How was the brew bus?
Haven't done one, and we've always talked about it, and it was a good time. There was only 2 other groups of 4 on the bus with us, and yeah, I mean, it was great. There was like 6 or 7 breweries. There were 6 or 7 locations they dropped us off. 3 of them were like actual breweries, and one was just like an area in Tampa that was the Sparkman's Wharf, which is just all like bars and restaurants and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. It was nice, because then
it was 5 hours.
But yeah, basically we left at around 12:15, and we got back to the last place about 5:15. And then we ended up going out a little bit longer than that, but yeah, it was a good time, because I mean, we didn't have to drive around we didn't have to go to one place and then get in the car and drive to another one, try to find parking. So
right,
yeah, it was great. And they drop you off, and then it was 2 buses going at the same time, so we had only 2 drivers. So like one would be like dropping us off and it'd be like, all right, next bus will be back here in about an hour, just right here in the same spot. Okay, so we'd go in, we'd have a couple drinks. Then the bus would pull up, we'd jump on it and be the next driver. We'd go to the next place. And
so are they notifying you that they're coming? Like, do you get a text message, or you just have to keep your eye on the parking lot?
No, that's it. We just gotta keep an eye on the time. So like they'll say like, oh, they'll be back within an hour or whatever. And then they'll usually sit and they'll wait. Like, of course we were leaving the one bar, and I was stopped, and these people had dogs there. So I'm sitting there, we're talking to the dog. I'm talking to the lady with the dog. We're talking about the dogs, because they look like one of the dogs one teacher I work with has. And then Chris gets out of the bus. He comes over, and of course he knows the guy. So then he starts talking to the guy, but then he goes, come on, we gotta go. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was holding up the bus. So I was like, oh, whatever. I was like, I was petting dogs. Damn it. Let me go. So, but it was a good time. I would do it again.
Sounds like fun. I like the idea that you don't have to drive, and you can kind of just relax and enjoy.
Yep. And it works out because I
Afternoon.
mean, you could even, I mean, for us, if we wanted to do it again, we could always Uber over to the first location and then take the bus around and then just Uber home. So, but yeah, and I think they have one on our side. I just never. We'll have to look into it now. So it's my new thing now. Check that out.
I have to get down to Florida.
Yeah. Well, like I said, hopefully by the beginning of next year, hopefully we'll have the pool in too. So we'll be ready to go. We'll be ready to go. Oh, you couldn't hear me?
Right? No, I can hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you either. So I was just,
All right.
I just kept on talking. So
I guess I'll listen to it when I listen back to the podcast. I'll know what you said. Hopefully it was nice. All right, well, that's going to do it then. It's the fastest hour of the week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for adding us to your podcast diet. The Brian Lennon Show. For my co-host, Gary McDaniel, I'm Brian Lennon. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you on YouTube and talk to you again next week.
yes, sir. Good night.